Welcome if this is your first time here. Welcome back if you've been here before. This is chapter 8 of my puzzle story. This is also the fifth and final part of my Canadian Nationals 2025 experience. Parts 1 and 2 focus on the individual events and how I prepared for the competition and my results. In part 3, I talked about how I met my team and my partners for the 2025 Canadian Nationals. And part 4 covered the pairs events. In today's video, I'm focusing on the teams events on the final day of the 2025 Canadian Nationals. Unlike the pairs events, which I was nervous about, as well as the individual events, which are highly unpredictable as to where you're going to finish, when it came to the teams events, I was very confident that my team was going to do quite well. As a team, we had prepared a lot. We are all above average puzzlers. We all had a similar goal in mind, which was to win the whole thing. But on the day, anything can happen and every second matters. Jumping straight into the qualification round, we had high expectations from the start. Of the 39 registered teams in each round, 20 of them would go through. We were definitely going to be one of those 20 teams. That wasn't even really a question. But finishing high, even winning the qualification round, would be a great confidence boost heading into the finals. So that's what we're aiming for. Of my 4 team members, Allison and Amanda had already competed in teams events before. It was Riley and myself's first time doing a team event. While there were the same amount of people in the room as the pairs qualifying, there was a different atmosphere in the air. It seemed busier, it seemed a bit more electric. It seemed like there was a lot more going on with so many teams in that auditorium. We are at table 4, which I explained in my previous videos. The lower the table number, the higher the expectations are that you are going to finish quite high in the qualification round, especially if you're in the top 5 tables. So it is expected that somebody within tables 1 through 5 will probably win the qualification round, with the other tables somewhat close behind. However, it is a nationals event. You don't know what every team is going to be like, especially the completely new teams. So there could be a surprise from one of the lower number tables. It doesn't matter. Just focus on ourselves, get what we need to do done, hopefully finish near or at the top in the qualification round. Our qualifying round starts at 8 a.m. on day 2 of the Canadian Nationals, which is an early start after a very tiring day 1. There are 4 possible Canadian artists that could still be selected in the remaining rounds at Nationals, but my team has practiced at least one puzzle from each of the remaining artists, so we're at least familiar with their artistic style and what to expect if one of those artists are to show up. Our round starts and the puzzle is Halifax Harbour by Alan Tinther, this one right here. We had done one of her puzzles previously called Town of Perth. It was by a different brand, so not Ravensburger. However, the style is very similar between the 2 puzzles, so we kind of knew how this approach was going to go. It took us about, like I said, about an hour for the previous puzzle, so we have a baseline of how long this should take. So we'll see how it goes. If this does take us an hour, we're definitely not winning the qualification round, but it's certainly going to be enough to get us through to the finals. So it depends on what your team's goal is. Ours is to still do very, very well. So hopefully we're going faster than an hour and finishing in one of those top spots. Now, I don't know what each person did specifically in a team's event. We all have different things going on. We have our approaches. We're working on certain projects, then everything comes together close to the end. However, one of the teammates, Allison, she did record the qualification round, so there'll be some video to the side of me here, and I'll kind of go through the game tape and see what the approach was that we took. Of course, we start with the piece flip and getting the border sorted away. All that's given to Amanda, who is our designated edge builder, while the rest of us are free to work on our own projects within the puzzle. Riley, who finished second in the individual event the day before, they're an incredibly fast puzzler, so we kind of usually give them a larger project to work on because we know they're going to go through it very, very quickly, leaving myself and Allison to work on these smaller projects that are kind of scattered around the image. Riley works on the water all along the bottom, which works out well. It's easy to pull all those pieces out because there's no other color that's similar to that water. There's some blue up by the sky at the top, but it's a different color of blue. We've also pulled the sky pieces and given them to Amanda to work on with the border as well, leaving essentially where all the houses are and the field for myself and Allison to work on. What's nice about how this artist approaches their images, all the different buildings within the middle section are essentially their own color. So going through and sorting out each individual house and building is very simple, and it's quite easy to do this quickly. By the time the border and the sky are done, it's been about 13 minutes or so. Allison and I have been working on some of the buildings. We're going to start attaching those to the border where possible. We're not going to put everything together yet, as we're still building off these smaller sections, but we can start seeing it coming together already, and we're just over 13 minutes into the puzzle. Riley is continuing to work on the water. It may seem like it's taking a long time, but it really isn't. It's such a large section, and water is always tough anyways, so that's fine. They're working through, which is great. Amanda joins Allison and myself working on the buildings. At about the 30-minute mark, all the main sections of the puzzle are now done. We can kind of bring everything together and make it a lot more organized. Once we place everything together, we can just focus on the remaining random sections, the grass backgrounds, and the little trickier buildings that we haven't gotten to yet. We're going through this at a pretty quick pace. We're using trays. We're sharing pieces around the table quite quickly. Things are moving very, very fast. So this is going quite well. No one else has finished yet, as we're coming up into the 45-minute-ish mark. And with a time of 45 minutes and 18 seconds, our team finishes, and we finish first. It is an odd feeling. Of course, you're happy that you finished first, but you have to quickly remind yourself this is just the qualification round. There's a lot of strong teams, and depending on what the puzzle is, how everything comes together changes from puzzle to puzzle. And now there's the additional pressure of, okay, you finished first in the qualifying. Are you going to follow that up in the final? We know that we're already going to be seated at table 1 in the final, so a lot of expectations will go onto that. We're going to be at a table that's right beside where a big bulk of the audience is going to be. So there's things to consider moving forward, but for the time being, very happy, good start to the day. Second place finishes about 2.5 minutes after us at 47:47. That is the team called Piece by Piece. This is made up of Liam Kearns and Tess McLaughlin, two people who will eventually finish in second place overall later in the day for the pairs events. So excellent puzzlers. Also on that team, Danielle Engelson and Amanda Matthews, also incredible puzzlers. So this is a very, very strong team. Because they don't really live close to each other, they didn't have a chance to practice and prepare nearly as much as some of the other teams did heading into the competition. So the fact they finished second on probably their second or third puzzle they've ever done together, great start for them. So they're definitely someone to consider that could come and win the whole thing in the finals. Third place finished about 4.5 minutes after us at a time of 49:34, and that is the Jigsaw Juggernauts. They are annually a very, very strong team to win, and I do believe they won the first ever Canadian Nationals team event, so a strong contender as well. Fourth place finished at a time of 50 minutes and 16 seconds, while fifth place finished at a time of 51:55. Then there was quite a gap. The next team to finish in sixth place finished 13 minutes later after the fifth place finishers, which means there is about a 19.5 minute gap between where my team finished in first place and where sixth place finished. So tables 1 through 5 did make up those 5 top place finishers. So you can see how the seating was pretty accurate in this case. A 20-minute gap, essentially 20-minute gap between first and sixth is very large in a puzzle competition. So of these top 5 teams, those are kind of who you're going to be focusing on a bit more going into the finals. In the second round, they had this gorgeous puzzle behind me called Indigo Forest by the artist Radina Tilley. In this second round, the team to beat were the goal getters, made up of the two people that would eventually win the pairs competition later that day, which is Devin Donaldson and Katie Deleuze-Zacard, who I've mentioned before in these videos. Also on this team is Sophie Helg and Justine Dussault, who are both amazing puzzlers as well. This is a very strong team, and if they don't win their qualifying round, it would be a huge upset. But again, don't count anybody out. Except in this round, definitely count everybody else out, because with a time of 57 minutes and 10 seconds, the goal getters do win their qualification round easily by 7 and a bit minutes. It's not even close. They clearly dominate the second round of qualifying. The team that does finish in second place, 2 of those team members are on my Worlds team that I'll be competing at in a few weeks with Chantal and Sandy. So it's good to see my team partners doing well in the other qualifying rounds. Second place is still great. Also on that team is Megan Sloka, which is the back-to-back Canadian Nationals champion. So this is a strong team as well, but it definitely emphasizes how strong the goal getters are. Heading into the final, my team is seated at table number 1. The goal getters are at table 2, and piece by piece are at table 3. The chances that the overall winner will come from one of these 3 tables are quite high. Don't count out tables 4 and 5 as well, but if there were betting odds on these events, someone from tables 1, 2, and 3 is most likely winning the whole thing. The team's final is the last event of the weekend, so we know who the artist is definitely going to be. It's going to be Patrick Boyer, I'm not quite sure on the pronunciations, and we know that his art is made up of very busy collages. And with collages, it means that this puzzle could turn out to be anything, and it actually turned out to be everything. The puzzle is revealed, and it is called Puzzle Passion. And here's a quick clip of the reaction from the participants when they first saw the puzzle. So this is the image. It might be one of the toughest puzzles I have ever seen, not including purposefully challenging puzzles like a polar bear in a snowstorm or something like that. But this puzzle has pretty much a little bit of everything possible. It is very much unorganized chaos. Unfortunately, there's no video beyond about 18 minutes of the final round, which is fine. It was a long day, phones die. So we kind of just need to go on memory for this one. However, in the team's event, the first thing that we always do, and that I'm very focused on, is getting as many pieces flipped as quickly as possible, getting the border and organized out to give to Amanda. So I don't even look at the image when it gets first revealed for any puzzle that we're really doing, because it doesn't matter at that time. I'm also looking at the pieces as we flip them to see what colors and patterns might stand out for initial first projects or when we start sorting those pieces. So I haven't looked at the image yet, and because I'm so focused on what's happening in front of us, I didn't even register the groan that went through the audience either. So I'm completely in the dark still about what this image actually is. However, as I'm flipping the pieces, I am noticing that there isn't very much, there's not a lot of similarities or any patterns that are standing out across the pieces, which is odd for any puzzle that I've done in a competition or preparing for competitions for team puzzles. So it's at that time that I decide to maybe look at the image for the first time, and I'm just not seeing something that should be obvious. So when I finally do glance at the image for the first time and see what it is, I am stunned. There's definitely a few choice words that I'm not going to repeat on this channel, but I'm not thrilled with what I'm seeing, and I don't really know what to think. Amanda has the border, so she has her first project she's going to start on. As I mentioned before, Riley tends to do larger projects, but there isn't really a larger project in this to work on, so they take the larger, small images that are within the puzzle. Essentially the yellowish brown bits, so that's the dog faces, the cello, the flowers, those all kind of stand out a bit more, so when we're pulling the pieces, that's a bit easier. The woman's face goes to Allison, as those pieces stand out quite a bit as well. And then I'm looking at what I'm going to work on first, and I got nothing. I have no idea where to start for a puzzle like this. I tried pulling the pink flowers, but there was a lot of them and they're very scattered, so those didn't come together very well, but at least I've pulled out the pink pieces to work on later, so that's something, I guess. I worked on some of the sections around the border, but that was very minimal. But again, it's something. I moved on to some of the white flowers. That didn't go very well either. I tried to get some of the plants out, but again, they're very scattered everywhere. So you're not putting more than 2 or 3 pieces together, which isn't enough for a team's puzzle. I did a fair bit of organizing, so that helped for when other people were getting their projects done. And it was kind of easing the amount of chaos of all the pieces in the middle. So again, that's something, there's just so much going on. But at one point we realized our pieces are getting a bit too spread out on the table, which happens as we're sorting through and trying to find different things. But because of the small details within this puzzle, the pieces need to be much closer to everybody so we can notice those small details, and helps us organize what's going to go where within this very, very complicated puzzle. So we pull all the pieces and box closer to us just to see everything better. A moment that seems like nothing, however, would eventually determine who wins this event. While I personally had a slower start to this puzzle, my strength usually comes further in when it's down to the more random images, the random sections of the puzzle, random pieces, and finding where those go. Because I spend time organizing and doing the smaller bits, the longer I look at a puzzle image, the more it's being mapped onto essentially my mind. So when I see a random piece, I kind of know where that's going to go. So that's definitely going to help out more as this puzzle progresses. So because I've been staring at this image for so long, as I'm looking at these random pieces, and they have small bits of images on them, I can kind of more easily place where they're going to go in the puzzle. Is it a bit of a zebra? It goes over there. Is it the Leaning Tower of Pisa? That goes up here. If it's a wing of this butterfly, it goes to the right. If it's that butterfly, it goes to the left. Is it the koi fish? It's down there. This puzzle literally has everything. So if you can remember, most of the things only appear once in the puzzle. So if you can remember where each little thing is, putting these pieces in becomes much easier. The time is ticking away. We're now just over an hour into this puzzle. Because we're at table 1, there's really no other way to see what the other teams are doing, especially the ones that we're definitely competing more head-to-head against, with the exception of the goal-getters, which are at table 2 right beside us. We can see their image. We're not really focused on it, but at a glance, we can see that we are ahead of them. But who knows how long that can last. They also have a lot of puzzlers that get faster and faster as the puzzle goes through, so they can easily catch up at any moment. I mentioned in previous videos where I've been behind others and picked it up in the last few minutes. So everybody that could still win this is still in it as we pass the 1 hour mark. Our team had also worked on a shape sorting and tray sharing technique. I'm not going to mention it on here because I still do compete, and there's some things that you should keep to yourself if it provides a strong advantage. We are getting closer and closer to finishing. Who's going to win? Again, you don't really know who's going to win. The event is sponsored by Ravensburger as the main puzzle sponsor, and they try to film the winners or winning table for each of the events. And there are people standing near our table as we're getting closer to finishing, as well as standing around table 3, which is the piece by piece team. We are into our last 30 or so pieces and moving quite quickly. The pressure is definitely on at this point. There is one piece that we know has a little bit of pink on it, and everything around it is filled in. It's just one little spot there. But we're looking at the remaining pieces and none of them have a bit of pink on it. We know it has to have pink on it. We checked the floor, nothing. Around our feet, nothing. And so we're just keep trying the pieces that we have on our tray to see if they fit. There's a chance that it's just a missing piece in general, but that doesn't tend to happen very often with pieces in the middle of a puzzle that tend to be closer to the edges where the missing pieces show up. But like I said, we're trying the pieces we already have over and over again, wasting time doing so. So And again, seconds can matter. We're down to our final 5 pieces, 4 pieces, 3, 2, and there's a big cheer as we place our final piece, but wait, that cheer actually comes from table 3, but it's at the exact same moment that we place our piece as well. So there is a bit of confusion. Here's a clip of how it comes down to the final 2 tables. I just want to quickly point out Tess's face as well. It's hilarious as she's the only one that I think realized from piece by piece that it's going to be close, and you can see kind of the shock, confusion, joy, a lot of emotions in this one still image. So who won? We look back at our puzzle and there is still that one missing piece with that little bit of pink on it. Remember when I said this? So we pull all the pieces and box closer to us just to see everything better. A moment that seems like nothing, however, would eventually determine who wins this event. Here's a video from a spectator. Video footage is supplied by Allison Elgersma. Here we go. That is the piece. So for that one essentially missing piece, we are assessed a 10-second penalty, meaning that our official time is 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 5 seconds, coming in 11 seconds after piece by piece. However, it was really less than a second between the two teams, but it is what it is. It is a devastating second place. I keep mentioning in videos that each second can matter, even when you're looking at times that are over an hour. Going into the 2025 Canadian Nationals, I did mention to a couple people that I did think the final teams event was going to come down to seconds. Often it's a minute or 2 between each one, but I just had a feeling this year it was going to come down to seconds. And it did, and that is just a part of puzzling. It's a hard lesson to learn, but I can guarantee nobody on a team that I'm on, or any of my other teammates are on, or even probably people that were on the winning team, piece by piece, or the team beside us with the goal getters are going to make that mistake either. So learning opportunity for everybody. But a huge congratulations to Piece by Piece. It's not easy winning any event, and they won the team's event. So again, congratulations to them. The team made up of Tess, Liam, Danielle, and Amanda. All fantastic puzzlers, and well done for them. If you haven't already done so and watched on this channel my sit-down talk with Tess McLaughlin, a member of Piece by Piece, she did state explicitly that this team will return as is for the 2026 Canadian Nationals. It is rare for a team of 4 to come back as a full team. There's always so much changing within the puzzle community. But if they do return for 2026, that is obviously going to be the team to watch. In third place, about 2 minutes after first and second place had finished, is the goal getters at table 2. And like I said at the start, tables 1, 2, and 3 had the top 3 spots, which was expected going into the finals. Fourth place finished about 4.5, 5 minutes later. And then from then on, 5th, 6th, 7th, all the way through, it's about 2 to 3 minutes between each team, which is a pretty standard for a team's event. So I am happy to have left the weekend with a medal, even if it's a silver medal, which is right here. And to earn a medal in my first team's event as well at a national competition, also a great feeling. I do think it's okay to be happy and disappointed at the same time. Because it was so close, I think that's what kind of leaves a bigger impact. If it had been a couple minutes or even 30 seconds, you can kind of understand that a bit more, but because it's essentially less than a second between first and second place, it's easier to think about what could have been in different circumstances, but that can happen to anybody. A piece can fall on the floor and bounce somewhere that you just can't see, and ours happened to be on the table, which again I think makes it a little bit worse because it was right there. But it's an experience, and it's a learning experience and something to take away from this weekend. And ironically or not, our team name, Moosing Pieces, it did come down to a single moosing piece. So that is it for my 2025 Canadian Nationals 5-part series of my puzzle story. Thank you if you watched all 5 parts. Leave a comment below to let me know what you think. Chapter 9 will be released next week, taking a bit of a turn now as I look at the virtual competitions that I've participated in. And by the time that video is released, I will have participated in another virtual competition happening in a few days. And that is it for this video. Click like if you enjoyed it, and make sure to click subscribe to stay up to date with all the content that's on this channel. Make sure to check out the Speed Puzzling 101 videos on here, where I provide quick speed puzzling tips in under 10 minutes. Now, as a reminder, I do encourage you to check out episode 2 of Puzzles Chatty, where I sat down with Tess McLaughlin, who was on the winning team piece by piece. There are new episodes of that also being planned and recorded to be released very, very soon. Thank you for watching, and until next time, as always, happy puzzling.